Hi everyone and welcome to Thomas Fan UK. Now this is a special video and we are going to be looking at and reviewing Sodor Reading Between the Lines, the 20th anniversary. Just before I start, I just want to let everyone know, if you're a Thomas fan you would know this, but just as a little reminder that Christopher Awdry will be having an evening which is called 85 Years of Letting Off Steam at the Inventim Apollo. It's basically the Hammersmith Apollo in London on the 25th of June with special guest Pete Waterman. They've just announced Mark Morrigan, Mike O'Donnell and Clive Spong, who's going to be there as well. So I'm going to be there. I've got VIP, so I hope to see you there as well. And let's get on with the review. So here we go then, guys. This is the 20th anniversary of the Sodor Reading Between the Lines. Now, a little bit of history on this is that this came out in 2005 and it was essentially a follow-up to the Reverend W. Awdry's book, which was released in 1987, which was about Sodor and its people and a lot of the background information that people would be interested in. And yes, so this is a follow-up to that, and 20 years later this is the new updated version, because in 2005, when this originally came out, there was 40 Railway Series books, and in 2007 we had Thomas and Victoria, and then in 2011, to mark 100 years since the Reverend W. Awdry was born, we had Thomas and His Friends. Both of those, including the original book, fetch quite a few £100. So if you've got them in your collection, you've pretty much done quite well. So it says here from the publisher, 2025 is the 80th anniversary of the publication of the first book in the Railway series, and it seems fitting as any to update his 2005 publication, thus forming this 20th anniversary edition and adding details of his further 2 additions to the series. We and Christopher hope that you enjoy. So this shows you all the other works in Christopher's back catalogue, not including the Railway series. So you have the Eastbourne miniature series, Lottie and the Enchanted Forest, Lottie and the Lost Locket, Railways for Sale, Luke Goes Flying, Heave Ho Hamish, and the Chips Express. All of these, I believe, are available in the UK on Amazon. And if you want more information on those, you just need to go to www.fullsteamahead.co.uk. And the dedication is for Thomas lovers everywhere. So the content of the book is an introduction, the island and its railways, characters in the stories, Your frequently asked answered, the stories, their origins and location, Thomas, a crown worth fighting for, and finally behind the curtain, and number 8 is map of Sodor. So the front cover of this was by the late Peter Edwards, who sadly passed away a few years ago, who was one of the illustrators in the Railway series. Not in the Christopher Awdry era, it was in the Reverend W. Awdry's era. So I'm not going to go through too much of this, because obviously you need to go out and buy it and support Christopher. It's basically Sodor reading between the lines, visitors, it mentions about City of Truro, Flying Scotsman, Stepney, Wilbert, Old Stuck Up, Diesel. It then goes on to the narrow gauge engines, which we all know of, Skarloey number 1, Reneus number 2, Sir Handel, and so on. The Arlesdale Railway, Bert, Jock, Mike, Rex, and all the other ones. Just having a quick look. I thoroughly enjoyed this. You get to hear about all the Sir Topham hats, including the current one, which was born in 1972, which is the Richard Topham hat. Whether that's any relation to Christopher's son Richard Awdry, I do not know, but that will be for you to decide yourself. Your frequently asked questions, we'll just briefly touch up on this. Why can't I buy the Railway series? They just go on about, you know, the publishers or Egmont children's books, and they're claiming falling sales, etc. You know, my personal view is I've never understood why Christopher's books have never been re-released. I mean, you look at number 41 and 42. And how much they go for, you know. I do think one more print of those would maybe help with that. They also ask, why are Thomas books still popular as ever? You know, in my opinion, it's because of the writing. You know, people relate to the characters, people love the stories, and that is one reason why they're so popular. So I'm just looking at the book now. I originally bought this when it first come out, but I ended up buying 2 signed copies, and I didn't really want to do the review for that, so I've waited till I met Christopher in Swanage, and I managed to do it then. So that's my excuse. So you got the stories, their origins, and the location. Freeway railway engines. We've got some nice pictures there of Christopher. Christopher and his lovely wife Helen. Miss Kindly's Christmas. Now we're just about going over to Christopher's stories soon. So we've got Tramway Engines, which is one of my personal favourites. I love that book. Ghost Train, Woolly Burr in particular. Really Useful Engines, which was the first book by Christopher Awdry. Another one of my favourites is More About Thomas the Tank Engine. Thomas, Percy and the Coal, The Runaway, Better Late Than Never, all made into stories for the second series of Thomas the Tank Engine by Britt Allcroft and David Mitten. So when Christopher took over, you had a book every year up until 1996, which was then the Reverend W. Awdry passed away in 97, and that's probably a reason why it took nearly 10 years, or over 10 years, to get the next book, which was included in the compendium of Christopher Awdry's new collection, again, which hasn't been re-released. We then have Thomas and his friends added to this, with the story at the end, Cemetery. And this is the story of how the Fat Controllers celebrated the centenary of my father's birth. Then you have Thomas, a crown worth fighting for, all really fantastic. And then you've got Finally Behind the Curtain, where they talk about Christopher's dismay of fans being basically ripped off for books which should be available but are not, and fans are paying £300-400 for them on eBay and places like that. It talks about the journey from when they were talking about it as an idea for the 20th anniversary to actually doing it. So you got bits in here which have been included. The Adventures of James, which was the original title. Like I said, I don't really want to ruin more of it. But all in all, this is a fantastic book. I believe it was $14.99. I might be mistaken. It might be less than that. But if you are a Thomas fan, it is well worth reading. So you got more maps here, more correspondence from Wilbert, the original description of Duck, letters to the Edmund Will publishers with a discussion on the book 22, the small railway engines, which was based in the Ravenglass and Eskdale Railway in Cumbria, which I've been to. And you have the map right at the end, which you can see here. And there's a little bit which I'm going to finish with, which Christopher says, "That, dear friends, readers and fans of the Railway series, is now where I, like my father before me, bid you farewell. Thank you for supporting Sodor Reading Between the Lines and my other products, and for all your support, well wishes and loyalty over the years. God bless you all. Love, peace and prosperity, Christopher." Now, we are and should be really lucky that Christopher is 85 years old, soon to be 86, just a little time after he does this evening with at the Apollo. You see, I got mine signed by Christopher at the railway. We never thought this would happen. We've heard in his interviews that he's battled cancer since 2019. I believe he had a stroke in 2020. So it is remarkable that this gentleman is even doing this for the fans, because let's be honest, he doesn't need to do it, and I think it's pretty wonderful that he is going to do this. And I myself feel very, very privileged that not only have I got to meet him, that I will get to see him on stage in 85 years of letting off steam. And I'm also going to dedicate this video to the Reverend W. Awdry, who we wouldn't even be doing all this media and coverage without the ideas, fascination and characters created by the Reverend Wilbur Awdry himself. So thank you very much for watching Thomas Fan UK, and more videos will be coming soon.